Let's take you back to one of the big stories on our watch this morning, and that is of the Gauteng Education MEC Matome Chiloane, who just gave an update on the progress of the 2023 online admissions and learner placements just before the 2023 academic year. Our reporter Molemo Waone joins us now on the program. Molemo, thank you so much for your time this morning. We just saw that media briefing there, addressing a bevy of issues there with the MEC, and we understand that you have the MEC now to further expand on some of those points that were addressed during that media briefing.
Good morning. Indeed, we're coming live to you from the Parktown Boys High School, where Education MEC Matome Chiloane was briefing the media about the placements for grades 1 and 8, saying that much work has been done in that area, as well as briefing the media about the progress that's been made already in terms of metric exams. But just to hear more from him, I'm going to ask you, MEC, this morning, just briefly about placements. How many applicants have been received? How many have been successful?
We've received over morning to you and to your viewers. We have received over 332,000 applicants for both grade 1 and grade 8. We have managed to place 87% of them, which amounts to over 200 and almost about 290,000 thus far. We are left with about 12% to place, and we are currently in a process of placing them. We're working around the clock. We should be able to have placed them at least by the 30th of this month, as we did say that it's our deadline day. Just to assure parents that maybe those that have not been communicated to, there are a number of factors that we could not, they did not receive SMSs. Amongst those is incomplete applications, and also those that perhaps the feeder zone, etc. So there are quite a number of reasons why they might not have received a notification, but their children will be placed. That's what we can assure them. This week, we're cleaning up, we're rounding off the placement process, and there are those that have already received placement and have not confirmed those placements. We will be auto-placing the learners to schools if parents do not accept, so that we can free up the system. So far the process is going quite well. We will be ready by the deadline date of the 30th of November.
And MEC, because the SMS system, notification system has been closed already, how then will parents be notified of placements for their children?
No, the system is open. We are still opening, sending SMSs. Plus, obviously, the district will be communicating with parents. The schools are communicating with parents, notifying their children that they've been placed in the school. So there's multiple prongs in terms of communication with their parents. Yeah. So they will get that particular notification of the placement of their children.
There are those who are already saying that their children have been placed at schools which they did not apply for. What's going to happen about them?
Those ones, if it's schools that, if it's correct the way you are saying that it's schools that they did not apply for, they do have a right to object and write an appeal against where their children are placed, and we will view those appeals and objections based on their merit to determine that perhaps maybe the school is far, is outside their feeder zone, it's the siblings. So there will be multiple factors we'll be looking into to ensure that their children placed at schools that they are of best convenient for them as parents and also for the learners. Like we've said earlier, we do have a contingency plan for schools that are full. We have a self-build program. We'll be giving schools money to build extra additional classroom, as well as we'll be sending through mobiles to those schools so that they can have more classroom capacity to ensure that we bring in more learners into those schools. So we do have a plan around that. So those parents have a right to object. Those that don't have a right to object is those that we've placed their children at schools that they did apply for. They might not have been their preferred schools, but they said to us, these are the schools they want, and we've placed them. So those objections and appeal will not be considered.
MEC, over the years, actually the online process started about 7 years ago, and over the years we've seen parents, confused, frustrated, as they would be shuttling from one school to the other, looking or searching for placements for their kids. Are you ready for next year?
Yes, we are ready. The beauty about online placement is that we are removing our parents from queues. They're no longer queuing at school, they're queuing at online. That's basically what we have done. As opposed to one parent driving from Parktown High and going to another school to try to register their child. It was a tedious process on parents, and that limited parents to apply to one school. Now with this online application, they've got the various options to apply, and that's what this process has done. So with that, we are ready for the new year. We have our school readiness, regular meetings are sitting weekly to prepare for the next year. So we will be ready. In fact, we are ready, if I can just say that. Yeah.
And lastly, on the matric examinations, how is the process going?
No, it's going quite well, largely incident-free. We've not had any form of disruption, albeit one or two incidences in one or two communities. But largely, we have been able to ensure that our learners are right. Where one school where parents came because of an incident that took place, of a stabbing incident, the parents came the following day to close the school. We had already prepared for such. So what we did, we just moved the learners to a different examination center so that they can continue to write. So we had our process in place, contingency. So we're ready. We knew that, disruptions are likely, and should they happen, let it not disrupt the process. But overall, our communities have really responded to our plea that they should not disrupt, at least now. And largely within the province, there's not been any service delivery strikes and marches, and there's not been any disruption to our schools. And we appreciate that from our community.
Thank you, sir. There was MEC Chiloane there giving us an update on placements for grades 1 and 8 for next year, as well as briefing us about the process of a matric examination, saying that largely so far they've experienced an incident-free matric examinations, and also saying that they actually are ready now for marking.
Mulemo Waone Motwa there in conversation with Gauteng Education MEC there. Of course, that's Matome Chiloane, just speaking about the admissions process and just essentially saying that it's all systems go ahead of the 2023 academic year. And of course, some of those points to remember from that conversation also is that from the 20th of December to the 20th of January 2023, they'll allow for late applications to be processed.